everybody, Jason Shadrick here with PremierGuitar.com, and we are backstage at the Zach Brown Band with Coy Bowles, and he is going to show us the guitars, the amps, and the effects that he has out on this latest tour. So Coy, thanks a lot for taking time to talk to us.
No problem, man. No problem at all.
So let's start here with your guitar boat, and let's just kind of walk down the line and tell us a little bit about the guitars you brought out on this tour.
Well, we have a bunch of different styles that we play. So we do everything from kind of like islandy stuff to country chicken picking to southern rock and roll. So you kind of have an arsenal of guitars. So this is a guitar I just had custom made by a guy out of Atlanta who makes guitars named Frank Varelli. And we had the mini humbucker put in it, kind of modeling it after the Brent Mason that we have. And I wanted a guitar that had something visually that you could see from kind of the back of the audience. And so we came up with this idea of doing the American flag guitar, and he had done one of these before. But he was first a wood carver, and he did artistic wood carvings for people, you know, kind of all over the place, really. Lived out in California for a long time. So we came up with this guitar, man. This thing's super light and plays like a dream, too, man. It has a really good sound to it.
And what pickups do you have in here?
Lawlers. And this is a mini humbucker, and then just a regular kind of bright telly bridge. And we replaced he originally had a different style saddle on this thing.
Do you prefer the older brass style?
Yeah, specifically this guitar is kind of more of like a chicken picking kind of thing. And we do kind of more reggae stuff, and it has a little bit kind of, a little more cut to it and a little more twang kind of going on. Which I think this guitar is awesome, man. Just it feels really good. And I recently picked up. This is kind of what we do for the, or what I do for more of the country sounding stuff, the reggae sounding stuff. But I've always been a humbucker guy, even before I got into the band. And so it was new to me to be able to get into playing single coils, which I had Strats and stuff like that before, but always thought that my playing sounded more like Stevie Ray Vaughan or something like that when I got into playing single coils. So anyway, this is kind of the stuff that we do for the more of the country and chicken picking stuff and the reggae too.
And on a typical night between these two tellies, how much of the night do you play on those two guitars?
Pretty much back and forth 50-50. I've got songs that I distinctly play this one on, and then I've got a couple of tunes that I play that one on as well. So I go back and forth between the two, on leaning more towards the country or reggae style stuff. And then I just got this from Gruen's Guitars out of Nashville, which is a dream come true, man. This is something that I've dreamed about having since I was probably 17 or 18 years old, which is a 69 ES335 custom. And man, this guitar, it basically plays itself. This is like the Larry Carlton dream right here, you know, Mr. 335. So.
And what tunes in a night would you bring this one out on?
I was playing Uncaged on this guitar, which is a new song off the new album, and we do Can't You See, and I bounce back and forth between playing regular tuning and open E tuning, playing slide. So I play this guitar specifically with just standard tuning. But Can't You See, what are some other tunes? And Uncaged would probably be the two songs during the set that I would play this on. But
and you guys play a fair amount down a half step. Do you?
All their guitars.
All your guitars are down.
Everything is tuned down to E flat. So which you have to have your guitars distinctly set up for that. And I play organ as well, and Clay does as well. And so we play in all flat keys mostly when we're on the organ. So going between playing guitar in E flat, which you're playing a C chord when you play here, and then when you move to the piano, you'd be playing in B. It can become kind of a mind twist. You have to definitely keep on your feet. And this is my baby right here, man. This is like somewhere around, I think it's a 97 Ibanez Artist, which I've had this guitar since I was probably, 17 years old. There's a good story behind this thing. I went into the guitar shop to get the guitar, and I didn't have enough money for it. And I went outside and asked my mom if she'd loan me some money, and she said no way. And I said, well, let me just go back inside and play the guitar for just one more second, because I lived out in the middle of nowhere, and you only got to go to guitar shops every once in a while. Well, while I was in there, this thing fell off and put a big dent in the back of the guitar right here. And I I asked the guy how much the guitar was worth now, and he said, how much you have? And I said, $400, and he said, all right, I'll sell it to you. So I got this guitar for $400.
Was it really accidental, or did you?
No, there was some other guy in there who dropped it, you know. And this is the guitar I specifically play slide on. It's tuned to open E flat. And man, out of all the guitars I own, this would be the one that I'd be the most sad about if somebody were to, if this was something would happen to this guitar. This is kind of my baby right here. It's probably not worth more than $400 or $500 too, you know. So, but this thing is a workhorse, has a great tone, and I haven't done anything other than I lost the knobs at some point, and we put new knobs on it, but it has original pickups and original everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just started bringing this guy back out on the road, which is a 77 Les Paul Custom, actually signed by Les Paul himself.
Is there a story about how you got that signature?
I actually, my buddy Ryan Newell, who plays with the band Sister Hazel, played this guitar forever and thought it was too heavy. And so I said, well, man, I'm looking for a Les Paul. Would you be interested in selling? And he said, sure. And he met Les Paul at a club in New York called the Iridium and got him to sign it. So I never actually got to meet Les Paul himself, but it's still kind of a cool factor. But there was a lot of gunk on the guitar. As you can see, the finish kind of has this milky texture to it. It was all over the neck, so I ended up having to pull the neck down and had it shellacked so it wouldn't crack or anything, but it has a great tone to it now, man. And I played Les Pauls forever and just now brought this back out on the road in probably the last year. So I play uncaged on it now, which I do the classic, have the one volume pot down and then go back and forth kind of like the Jimi Hendrix thing of doing the wa-da-da-da-da-da trick on the solo that I do. So this guitar is perfect for that, man.
So you also play acoustic on what tunes do you play this Taylor on?
With this tour, we've been doing a acoustic set, and I play acoustic guitar on it. And this is a Taylor 814 CE, and it's got a new configuration pickup styling that Taylor's working on, and so they're getting me to try it out. We went to Iraq and did a USO tour, and Zach had become good friends with Bob Taylor, and he came out, and ever since then we've been just like great friends with Bob Taylor. I actually went out to San Diego and toured the plant out there, and he's really into doing desert safaris. So he and I and a buddy of his went on this desert safari together, and I just can't speak more highly of Bob Taylor. I mean, he's the coolest dude in the world and a real genius in the guitar industry, man. Mm-hmm. And I read it after we hung out. I read his book that he just recently put out, and man, he put his time in to get where he is, you know. So sure. This is a really cool guitar too, man. It plays great. Taylor's just super consistent, man.
Pretty much straight off the rack. Nothing you've changed.
Nothing new changed. Just added strings.
D'Addarios?
Yes, sir. D'Addarios as well.
All right, so here we are with your pedal boards. Why don't you walk us through the kind of the signal chain and what you use each pedal for during a given night?
Sure. Well, I have been going through multiple different pedal boards over the last couple years, and the biggest thing is, as much as we tour and as busy as we are, and as much as they get bounced around in the trucks, it's really hard to get a pedal board to be very consistent. So we did a tour with Kenny Chesney's guys, and one of their guys was running the same pedal board, and I thought it was an ingenious idea to be able to pull the pedal board out of the loop, or pull the pedal out of the loop if there was any issues, because cables are always going bad. There's always something going on. So with this pedal board, it's kind of a foolproof system to where if one pedal starts acting up, your whole chain isn't, thrown out. So, but basically, I have just a boost pedal for a little bit meatier tones.
The Cocoa Boost?
Yes, I love that thing, man. That's pretty much in the last year I've been using that. And the overdrive one would be the Sparkle Drive, and I live and die by the Sparkle Drive. That's my go-to pedal. If I'm just doing a sit-in gig with somebody, then it'll be the Boss Chromatic Tuner and a Sparkle Drive, and I can play a gig. That's kind of, and I played Tube Screamers for years, but this thing allows you to have a pop at the very front of your note, which I've gotten very into, especially playing slide. It really allows your accenting to kind of be emphasized or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I played VVT amps for a while, and they came up with a pedal called the X Drive. And there was a guy named Tony Albany who I was working with, and we kind of came up with the idea of this thing has a lot of drive to it, and I worked with him about kind of toning it down a little bit, but that's kind of the kick it into overdrive kind of thing. And I bounced back and forth between the MXR comp and a Keeley comp, and it just so happens to be the Keeley comp that I had is is on another pedal board, so it'll probably be making its way to here pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
And I bounce back and forth between the Boss TR2 tremolo pedal and a Swamp Thing tremolo pedal as well. And then the new edition, which I have a solo, and we do a tune called Neon, which is a mashup of a Stevie Wonder tune and a John Mayer tune, and it goes into this kind of Latin thing. And so I was wanting to kind of get a Jimi Hendrix kind of sound, and that was when I added the vibe pedal, the pickle vibe. Mm-hmm. And then this is kind of we have a new tune on the new album called Goodbye in Her Eyes, and it has kind of a pretty signature lick on it, and I've been using the Fuchs Plush tube delay for it. And the thing takes up a lot of space, but man, it sounds really, really good. Mm-hmm. And then I also play resonator on a couple of tunes. So we've got this pedal board set up where it's pretty, you have the ability to go between your electric and your acoustic channel. And then when I'm playing acoustic, I can just tap into the Jerry Douglas Fishman, which I have a Jerry Douglas pickup in my beard resonator. And then I have all the signature stuff that comes along with the Fuchs amps, which are gain, your mid, your overdrive, and your reverb, which I really dig having the ability to turn the reverb on and off on the pedal, because I'm a big reverb guy, and there's some tunes that need it and some tunes that don't, so it's really cool being able to do that. And you can see one of our funny guys on the road wrote Fartist. But this pedal board's a little big for what all I use it for, but there's the whole idea is we kind of stepped it up while we're in ability to play such big venues and all this. I'm really into changing pedals out and seeing what sounds I can get. So this was something that was going to allow me to have at least a couple more positions to be able to add new pedals in without having to completely rewire everything. And also, I'm really big into having a lot of ways of not allowing something. If you're in a gig and something goes wrong, man, I just go into a fit about, when the pedal's messing up, it can take you out of the element. And we've gotten to a place where the point is entertaining the crowd. So being able to run around and give your full amount of energy to the audience. And when something goes wrong with your gear, man, that's the last thing that's on your mind is entertaining, So that was my whole idea of being able to, where if the tremolo pedal goes wrong, then I can just pull it out of the loop and nothing else is affected, And
tell us a little bit about the switcher you have here.
This is a Pedal Rocks switcher. And it's basically just a loop switcher that you can loop in and out of the pedals, and you can have them all at one time or pull them out whenever you like. So, which allows you to be able to, say the sparkle drive starts acting up because it was short in the cable or something, then you can just pull it out of the chain, and you can use your other overdrives to go in there, So, I think this pedal board suits me really well, man.
All right, let's walk over and take a look at your amps.
Sure.
All right, so it looks like you're running a couple Fuchs Overdrive Supreme. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you're digging and how long you've been using these Fuchs amps?
We've probably been playing Fuchs amps for about 2 years, which Clay and I are both amp junkies. And I have, just about every blackface Fender you can own. And so I played Super Reverbs for a very long time, and then got into playing double clones for a while and played VVT, and then hooked up with a guy at Fuchs, Deborah Mueller, and they were just so awesome about, I basically had two requirements. One was I needed 2 amps, and I needed to be able to send this amp off if anything went wrong and have you ship another one out. And they were like, we can do that. And I was like, I love you. So not only that, but the amps are just, man, they're built like tanks, and they sound amazing too.
So you run both all the time?
No, I have them both on. One is just a backup. Like I was saying earlier, I'm big into having a fail-safe thing going on. So, but Clay and I both play Fuchs. I started playing it and then kind of said, man, you should check these things out. They sound pretty good. And so we got one sitting out with him, but I play the 100 watt and he plays the 50 watt.
Is that because you want to be louder than him?
Well, man, it's just we get to play huge venues, and this is one of the only times in your life where you really get to crank up. So I'm like, why not, man? And I really like the balance between having an amp, driving an amp really hard, and also driving your speakers really hard. Mm. There's a fine balance, and I think 100 watt heads can really drive the speakers, and you can get a lot of tone out of the speakers that way. Which you can do the same thing with 50 watts, but I just prefer the 100.
And what speakers and cabinets are you using on this tour?
Yeah, we can walk around this way. I play 212 cab, and right now I have a Tone Tubby and a Celestion G1265 in there. And I'm on the search for speakers right now. I like the Tone Tubbies a lot, and I also like the Celestion. So there's a possibility of having 2 cabs maybe. I'm just kind of in the hunt for speakers, but I really like Weber speakers, the Celestions, and the Tone Tubbies. So it's just kind of a mix between the two. And we just recently added a mix between going from the 609 with the ribbon microphone, which kind of the ribbon microphone are really meat, adds a little bit more meat to the tone. And this is a custom-made VVT 212 cab, and I also have a Fuchs 212 cab out. That's the kind of backup if anything goes wrong. So
Great. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for taking the
thanks,
time
man.
to talk to us.
Yeah, my pleasure.